to the Follow Me Show. You are here with your hosts,
Drew
and DeAndrea of Follow Me Realty, the co-founder and broker of record for Follow Me Realty.
And I am the co-founder as well, mostly founder, and
Okay.
Follow Me Realty.
Well, excuse me. And together we make up your hosts for the Follow Me Show. So we bring this podcast live to you guys. Well, actually not live. By the time you hear this, we've already mixed it fairly well and cut out all of the unnecessary things. But we are the hosts of the podcast, The Follow Me Show, and we bring you all the tips and tricks.
And the do's and do nots.
Of the real estate industry. And it's been a while since we've been back. It's actually been like 2 months. Wow.
Yes, we are back to stay.
Yes, we have staying power.
For a while.
But we're really excited to bring this topic to you guys today because I think it comes up a lot when we talk to people that are just getting their real estate license. And so we said, why not talk about if you are meant for real estate and what makes up a really good real estate agent, and also some good tips to guide you on what the best avenue in real estate might be for you, just depending on the kind of person you are.
Yes, everyone's not made for real estate.
And everyone's not made for all of the same types of real estate.
So today we're going to go over basically 20 questions to ask yourself before you get into real estate, or 20 questions to ask yourself while you're in and contemplating dating out.
So for those of you just joining us and you don't know what we're all about, please check us out on our website, followmerealty.me, and you can also find us on Instagram.
Is the same as our website, so our username is followmerealty.me.
On Twitter, follow me realty with just
T.
a T.
And then
Snapchat, follow me realty, just all spelled out.
Pinterest.
We're on Pinterest.
Yeah, we're on Pinterest as well.
We're everywhere, guys.
Everywhere.
Just Google
also,
us, you'll find us.
We are on Facebook as well.
Okay, guys, so that is a long-running joke. We are officially on Facebook now. So you can check out our Facebook.
At Follow Me Real with a T.
With a T, just like Twitter. So, yeah, check us out, guys. We provide a lot of great information for agents, even if you're not in the state of Florida.
I mean, it's probably close to the best, if not the best.
Pretty much amazing information that you'll find. And pretty, sometimes biased information, but for the most part, unbiased information just to give you all around good info on the real estate industry as a sales agent, and home buyers and home sellers can really learn a lot from this podcast as well. So that's our whole intro to kind of recap on where we are. And
then eventually we're going to be sponsored.
Yes.
And you guys are going to have 6 minutes worth of
sponsored
us talking in the beginning. We'll be like...
Sponsored by Maserati. I don't know what their motto is, or I'd say it, because that's the car I'm getting in. Maserati wants me to drive the car, trust.
I think that's what's going to happen.
Definitely in the future. Anybody who's just joining us, like seriously, if you are offended by foul language and snide remarks or just overall kind of joking,
probably not for you.
This podcast isn't for you, and our brokerage probably isn't for you, because we're very honest with the information we give, and we like to be funny. Guys, we're human beings, and we're all adults. I would really hope no teenagers are listening to this, or children. This is a podcast, hence the explicit icon in iTunes. This is an adult conversation. So if this offends you, bye. So, all right, what's the first one?
The first one is a very important one, and it's this. Do you have good habits?
And what does that mean as a real estate agent? And why would that even be the first one?
I don't know why it's the first one.
It's probably the first one we thought of.
Yes.
Really, truly, guys, to have good habits as an entrepreneur, anyone who's ever run their own business, and yes, as a real estate agent, you're running your own business. So anyone who has done that before can truly understand what it means to have good habits. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean you're, working out 2 hours a day and you're eating super clean. Not to say that those aren't amazing things, but good habits just means keeping yourself on track, writing down your goals, really having a regimen for yourself, and self-disciplined, because you definitely need it as an agent.
Can you wake up in the morning? Is that part of your habits? I mean, are you well groomed? That is another habit that
especially
you need
because
to have in real estate.
appearance is huge as a real estate
appearance is
agent.
everything, and If you look like a bum, you're not going to be able to sell too many houses.
Or if you're just too lazy to do things, you can always outsource. You also have to have the good habits of knowing who to hire when you don't want to, let's say, write your own listing agreements or contracts.
Yep.
It's really important to have good habits or to hire out the things that are needed so that way you can get back to developing your good habits in real estate. Now, when you get into real estate, you may not necessarily have everything down packed, of course, because it's a new industry, but you have to be willing to adapt, which is another one of our questions. Are you willing to adapt? It is a new industry for a lot of people. So as a new agent, do you have the willingness to understand and adapt to this new industry and the communication, the jargon, the negotiations, everything?
And so if you're starting out and you are a new agent listening and you don't have good habits, don't fret. It's simply a matter of changing those habits, because without good habits, you're not going to make that much money in real estate, not sustained, because you're going to end up doing things that ultimately go against what got you the money in the first place. Is when you start practicing bad habits. I have personal experience of this.
Yeah.
A lot of people do.
Because here's the thing, guys, it's really simple. When it comes to your habits, your money depends on it. If you don't follow up well, and we're going to actually cover probably a lot just in saying habits alone as far as the other questions that we have, because you have to be willing to follow up. You have to be willing to get the information that you need in a timely manner for your clients and for yourself. So just overall, again, having good habits. So, okay. Second one is, are you patient?
Yes.
Oh,
so
you need
this is very, very, very important.
Yes.
If you don't have patience, you must learn patience, especially in real estate. As a new realtor, entrepreneur, or whatever. And patience comes in so many avenues. You might be working with a client that just drives you crazy because they can't make up their mind. You need patience in that situation.
And you have to understand in that situation, too, to be objective and understand you're there to help facilitate either finding a home and then after you find the home, facilitating the transaction. So being patient with people, with circumstances, with financing falling through, with an inspection that may not go the way that you want it to, all of that. You have to have the patience to see it through and to be objective, too. So, again, that's another thing to touch on is, can you be objective? But we'll get to that in just a minute.
And another thing, some more examples of patience is, as a new real estate agent, you might come across a lot of bad deals or a bad lead, or stuff just doesn't fall through.
Or someone doesn't return your phone call that was so gung-ho and ready just a week ago. And you have to have the patience to say, okay, well, when they're ready, they'll come. Because to be honest with you guys, a lot of times why people don't follow up with you is because it has nothing to do with you. If you're friendly, patient,
it's because of your bad habits.
It really is a lot of times because of their own personal situation, and we all know this. Like, you might have a person who's trying to get you to sign up for a certain seasoned agents and existing agents. You guys understand this. Like, you might have homes.com constantly call you, and you know that you're interested, but it's just not, the timing isn't right. And so it takes patience to constantly see that through and follow up.
It does. And also it takes patience on getting your money at times.
Oh, yeah.
As a new agent, you might not make money for 6 months, maybe even a year.
That is so true.
So it really takes a lot of patience and understanding that it's a process, and that, you're not going to start making, 6 figures your first 3 months in.
Right.
Some people might.
And we'll talk more about that too, because
the majority won't.
Yeah, because the thing is, are you willing to, wait, like Drew said, just a few months sometimes, or a deal may fall through, or a few deals might fall through all at once. But we'll touch on that. Basically, the first one, just remember, do you have good habits? And the second thing is, are you patient? And patience is going to be an acquired habit for you to have, a virtue.
In the great... Well, Ben Franklin, it's a virtue.
I was going to say that. Patience is a virtue. It really is true, and you see that a lot in the sales industry in general, but definitely in real estate.
Okay.
Third one?
Yeah, moving along. So the third one is very important. Can you be neutral?
Okay.
Can you be like Switzerland?
Okay.
Can you be like Germany, neutral?
Guys.
That was a joke.
Guys, it's a Twilight joke. Did you know that you just made a Twilight joke? Switzerland.
I said, but then I said, can you be like Germany, neutral?
Oh, Well, I'm going to stick with Switzerland because I love Twilight.
Switzerland.
Can you be neutral? Guys, oh, I cannot stress this enough. So you're going to find some situations that, let's say you're the buyer's agent and you submitted an offer and the listing agent has it. And before they send it over to their seller, they say, oh, absolutely not. This is ridiculous. You cannot go requesting X, Y, and Z. The price is fine. The offer is fine as far as the price point. But the things that you're requesting, like the window treatment stay, which are the curtains, the window treatment stay and the washer and dryer stay, and they start getting upset with you as the buyer's agent, and they're the listing agent. And let's just assume this person has no affiliation as far as agent-owner relationship. They're just the listing agent. That is quite a common occurrence. It definitely can happen, and on both sides. But you have to be willing, and you have to know how to be neutral as a real estate agent. Like I already said, you are, and you're going to hear me say this a lot today, you are facilitating a transaction. You have to be neutral and say, and objective is not just neutral, but can you be objective in the entire negotiation and the contract and everything, and understand, yes, you have loyalty to your client, but that doesn't mean you have to be emotionally involved. If anything, being emotionally involved is a hindrance to you and to your clients and to the entire deal. You have to be willing to be neutral, be objective.
Yep.
And provide the information clear and concise without any of the emotion behind it.
And then those of you who are already licensed kind of know this, and they harp on this in the realtor class and all that jazz. And it's true.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that you must be neutral. And it's kind of weird when you get in the industry. You're going to find a lot of people that are very emotionally attached, and they're not nearly as neutral as you would expect.
Or as neutral as, as you need to be with it. And it's so funny because I've seen karma bite people in the ass so many times with that, where they've been very nasty through a transaction, and then all of a sudden on their end, the deal is falling through. And, I'm sure those are the times that they may evaluate, and hopefully they change the way that they are acting or behaving in a certain situation with a contract or deal, because ultimately that really can have an effect negatively if you are not neutral in a given situation. And you know what, guys, it actually has to do with religion and politics too. So when you're talking to people, and I'm not necessarily saying if you're in your church and you're talking to people, I mean if you're bringing religion and politics into your conversations publicly, even if you feel like it may not be making an impression on someone, or maybe you don't think certain people are within earshot where it matters, it does. You do have to be neutral, and that also has to do with your conversations and the way you're presenting yourself as a real estate agent.
Yeah, especially in today's kind of environment, with, Democrats, Republicans. It's a big divide right now. So
yeah,
don't
the best
bring
thing
that
to
up.
do is just completely avoid the situation.
Exactly, whatever your
altogether.
Your choice is.
Right. Yeah. So all right.
The next one is one that is very dear to my heart. Do you handle confrontation well? And I can tell you, as an early real estate agent, I was not very good at handling it well. Mm-hmm. I still have my challenges. So this is something that you need to look at. People are going to come at you. They're going to say dumb shit all day.
Guys, just in our brokerage alone, so just for instance, when we're, cold calling, for instance, or recruiting and talking to people, which is a huge part of the job description as an agent, and also as owners of a company, you're going to have people say things every single day. I had at least 3 things today where people said very nasty things, and that can easily turn into a negative confrontation, or you can completely diffuse it by absolutely ignoring the emotions, or just removing yourself.
See Think and Grow Realtor Rich.
Yes, definitely see that blog for what we're talking about. But also, when you get down to some nitty-gritty negotiations sometimes, or just it could be something as simple as showing someone's home, where you can get confrontations, or you showed up 15 minutes early and my client wasn't okay with that. You have to be willing to say, hey, you know what, no worries, kind of let it slide. And this is my motto: if it doesn't affect your pay, don't let it ruin your day. So confrontation is going to be a part of the job. You have to learn how to do it with a smile on your face.
And it's really, especially a part of the job in real estate. There's not too many other jobs that I know where you have to handle the amount of confrontation that you do in real estate. You know, this could be from your clients to another real estate agent, to the broker, to someone that's trying to come on your company. So there is a lot of opportunity for you to get flustered and rattled in confrontation. Don't let it happen, and be aware of it.
Yeah, and if you're in real estate, this is not the industry to just kind of like cower and put your head in the sand. You're gonna have to deal with it sooner or later, and honestly, you do have to develop a thick skin in real estate on all sides at every angle. It is what it is.
Yep. So the next one is one of my favorites. It is, are you willing to get attention?
I'm gonna say this a little bit differently too. I'm gonna put a different spin on it. And we've said this time and again, but if someone Googles you, will they find you? And if they do, what will they find? Will you like what they see? You have to be willing to get attention in real estate because, for instance, in Florida, there's over 151,000 realtors in the state alone. It's the second largest agent population in the U.S. And so you have to get some kind of attention. And I'm going to give you guys a scenario. Let's say that and I talk to a lot of people daily about this exact situation. Let's say, for instance, you are advertising on Zillow and somebody, sends in a lead and they want you to, show them a house, and they're pretty excited to see this house and they're pretty set on this home alone. And you call them, you introduce yourself, you guys make those pleasantries, and then you say, okay, so I have you set up for tomorrow at 4 p.m. And they say, great. Well, they were also, or maybe, their partner was clicking on homes, and they have another agent call them right shortly after you get off the phone. And they're like, hey there, I see that you're interested in the second house, right? And they're like, yeah. And they're like, okay, so they start to introduce themselves, and they have a presence. If you look at them on Zillow and on LinkedIn and all these other platforms, they have a presence about them, and they've gotten the attention through their online presence. And they say, you know what? And as a matter of fact, I can show you this home and really any other home you want to see, and we can go out at say in 2 hours. So that person has a head start, number one, because of course they've called and they said they're willing to show multiple homes. But what really sticks out for people is when they have a presence. They are everywhere you look. If you Google their name or their brand, you can find them everywhere. You immediately trust that person more. And so where does that leave you as the first person that called? In the dust. It happens. And that really truly can make the difference between you and really any other agent.
Part of the formula to success is getting attention. There's no way around it. If you have a business, your biggest problem is, do people know you? And if you're a realtor, that is your business.
Yeah, if nobody knows you, they're not going to buy from you.
And if you're not willing to get attention, whether that's through ads, posting, cold calling, whatever, then you're not going to make it. So you need to be willing to get attention. That's just the bottom line, really.
Yeah, you'll hear some companies say, don't be a secret agent, but it's so much more than just that.
Yeah, it's not a cute little saying.
It really is something that you practice every day.
Yeah, and it's not cute. It's like...
It's true.
It's something that must be done.
Yeah, you have to get attention, and you have to constantly keep that attention. That's the first part of gaining clients' trust, is being someone that everyone knows.
Okay, so number 6, the next one is, are you willing to adapt? Are you willing to evolve?
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit. With it being a new industry, of course, guys, you're going to have... we're talking to mainly new agents, but again, anybody who's been in the real estate industry, you already know this. You have to be willing to adapt to the changes. Like, for instance,
real estate's a lot different today than it was 15 years ago.
It's a lot different than it was 10 years ago.
A lot different, yeah.
There are so many new tools that you didn't necessarily have access to then. 15 years ago, the MLS, maybe not 15 years ago, maybe 20 years ago, it was like the big, thick, Yellow Pages book for the MLS that was constantly updated. And so now everything is paperless. Signatures are paperless. And, again, getting attention is mainly online. So it's not just your for sale signs that look all glamorous, which there's nothing wrong with that, but it's really marketing yourself first with an online presence and what you do constantly updated. Hey, look at me. I'm at this great open house. Look at me. I'm at NAREP today. I'm at, the Realtor Expo, whatever it is. You're always getting attention. And so being willing to adapt as technology and as social media progresses too. You have to be willing to go with those changes and not say, well, when I was an agent back 10 years ago, yeah, well, nobody cares what it was then. It's today.
And you have to be willing to adapt with the new crowd of people that are coming up. We have a lot of high schoolers, middle schoolers that will be buying houses in 5 to 10 years, and there's some that are buying houses now that were completely different than the buyers of, let's say, 5 to 10 years ago. So it's a constant adaptation that you must pursue.
Yeah, and then also like with contracts, for instance, so it was kind of all the rage to, so before the crash, you had a lot of the FAR bar, just standard contracts, right? But after 2008, it was a huge influx of using the FAR bar as is contract in Florida, for instance. And that is something that's quite common where, the newer agents that are coming in don't understand, well, why would I always use an as is? So I had one of our agents actually ask that. He said, wouldn't that be a hindrance to my client to use an as is, meaning they can't change anything? And so trying to, number one, adapt to the way things are going, but also be willing to adapt to, how do I explain this? Be willing to talk to people and understand what's going to get you the deal instead of, well, it's this, it's XYZ, it's firm. There's no really black and white in real estate. Everything can be really gray. And you have to be kind of flowing with that.
There's light grays and there's dark grays.
Yeah.
But it's still...
There are 50 shades.
Yeah. There's 50 shades of
But
real
the point
estate.
is, there exactly. But that's the point, is that you have to be willing to adapt and also evolve with the social dynamics, with the legal jargon, with paperwork, with technology, with evolution, all of it.
With your socials, Snapchat, guys.
And
It's
always
a-coming.
keeping it relevant.
Yep. Always keeping
Did you say it's coming?
Yep. It's a coming.
Wow. I'm going to...
Okay, so our next one is number 7. How committed are you to learning the industry? And this probably should go without saying. Be that as it may, you would be surprised at the amount of people that really don't take the time to learn the industry. Now, I will say this. That may not be a problem. If you don't want to learn the industry, no problem at all. But know how to sub yourself out and hire the right people so you don't have to do the work. All of your TCs, your appraisers,
Like, for instance, for us, like, we have a VA for the things that we just simply wouldn't be able to do. You need a team of people to do it. The same thing goes in real estate. That's why you build your dream team. And so you have to be willing to learn the industry, and that also means knowing when to hire out.
Yep, you need to be willing to learn the industry or pay someone to do it for you.
Yeah. And that goes for everything, guys, because you can have a licensed assistant write your contracts. Let's say you're on the fly and you constantly have deals going. Or
let's say you're like, you know what, screw this, I'm not writing no contracts.
Right.
And which you don't even have to.
I'm not writing any contracts.
My grammar is very, very good.
It's beautiful.
It's.
I don't want to write a contract, and quite simply, I want to go ahead and get this offer in fast, or I just don't. I want to really spend my time more focused on the sales aspect. So, that's fine. Whatever it is, you still have to learn how to do it. But I think we're talking a lot about subbing out, but really learn your industry. So when you're just getting into real estate, I can tell you some of the best things that you can do is, number one, find the area that you're going to be marketing to. Like we always say, your real estate niche, right? But understanding what that niche looks like. Okay, so what is the average price point in this given area or in these specific zip codes? What is the average close rate, average days in the market for homes? Know everything. Like, really dive in and understand it. You can learn so much just by, and guys, existing realtors know this a lot, just sitting on the MLS and, getting notifications of new homes coming up all the time. It can kind of be like I always want to say Russian roulette, but that's not what it is. It's
nothing to do with
It's
that.
A numbers game. I don't know. It has nothing to do with that. Thanks, Drew. Just understanding your market and knowing the trends is as they come, I guess, is the best way for me to say it. Knowing the interest rates and having a good buddy and, in the mortgage industry and in that realm to always kind of keep you up to date with those things. Know your market, know your stuff, and have a good team around you that also knows the specifics to things that, how did Henry Ford say it? He said, why would I clutter up my mind with all this unnecessary stuff when I have a row of electric push buttons and no matter what I need, I have somebody for that? Essentially, as an agent, you want that too. And so learn the market or get people on that know that specific
Exactly.
area.
So quick backdrop into what she's saying. Henry Ford got sued by somebody because they said he was an ignorant owner / rich guy. Henry Ford did not like this.
So he took it to court.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. The paper wrote something bad about him. He said this is not true, so he took it to court. And basically,
they actually questioned him about this.
They asked him a whole bunch of general knowledge like dates, etc., Civil War, just your random crap. And he said, listen, why would I need to know all this very general knowledge if I have
a team of
people that can answer any question I ask them at any given time?
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is truly the epitome of having a dream team. And he understood that. So yes, he understood the knowledge that he needed to lead, his team, but the rest was for his team to do. So being willing to understand the market that you're in also, like we keep saying.
Be willing to learn the industry or have someone learn it for you.
Yeah. You still need a rudimentary understanding of real estate, but
you need a rudimentary understanding of life, but
And I feel like saying something right now. Maybe I should save it, but here's the thing, guys. I'm gonna speak my mind when it comes to real estate. I think a very fundamental thing that many agents, especially if you've been in the business a little bit too long, and no offense to existing agents. I mean, I think we kind of all do this every now and then, but remembering that this is a sales job. You're selling something, and you're not selling homes only. You're not selling services only. You're not selling consultation. You're selling yourself. And so as a salesperson, it's not always necessary to know immediately how much a home warranty is on average. Although that's great information, but you should just have a great home warranty person that you can always refer, right? Or you don't have to always necessarily know, well, how much is the interest and the tax is going to be on a home. That's where you can find the information, of course. Know where to find everything, but don't be discouraged if you don't know all the information off the top of your head. Because I know when I was showing homes as a buyer's agent, that came up sometimes. And I would kind of, when I was new, feel like, oh, shoot, I should know this.
Exactly.
That's not necessarily the case. You're a salesperson, and so you're selling the entire image. Guys, let me show you what you're going to get with this home. What are you going to walk out to every single day? What are you going to experience in the traffic flow? Is this where you want to raise your kids? There's a lot that goes into it. So I just wanted to point that out. Remember, you're a sales agent, and so a lot of what you're learning is also how to sell. First and foremost, actually, is how to sell.
Which brings us to our very next question.
Oh, yeah.
How willing are you to learn sales?
So I'd actually just wrap that up and didn't know that
yes.
was 8.
So exactly what DeAndrea just said. It's a sales job. Mm-hmm. Everything's a sales job, though.
Yeah.
But most people do not realize that.
Exactly.
There is a few jobs that aren't sales jobs. Maybe you're in the warehouse just boxing things and shipping it out. However,
you had to sell yourself
you
in
had
the
to
interview.
sell yourself to get to the interview. Everything is sales. And be cognizant and aware of that. So how willing are you to learn sales? Number 9. Are you okay with having to submit an offer after 11 p.m.? And that's very specific, but there is a reason for that. Break it down.
Okay. So guys, you're going to find in the real estate industry that it's not a 9 to 5. It's not a 9 to 10 even. It is a 24/7 gig. And sometimes, yes, you do have to be willing to write a contract. And I've done this truly over 10 times where I've actually had to write a contract because a client said, okay, I'm really interested. Let's go ahead. Let's get it done. And you want to strike while the iron's hot. And if they're interested and they're ready, there's nothing wrong with going and immediately saying, okay, let's go ahead and draft this baby up. and get them going. Sometimes it takes that. And that also means sometimes your lender partner or your mortgage broker will also be there to help you and give you that pre-approval when you need it on the fly. So are you willing to do that? If you're the kind of person that says, oh, absolutely not, I won't be doing that. Okay, well then that again leads me to this. It doesn't mean you're completely out of real estate. Just know who to hire and have a really good team to help you with that. And someone who, for instance, a VA, like we use VAs with Follow Me Realty. And
we have a lot of virtual assistants on our team
to create our teams, because there are specific departments that just naturally need to be dedicated to a specific area, and it's the same in real estate. So if you have a VA, let's say over in the Philippines or over in India, then they are working different hours than you. So that's just a general example, but like if you have something that you just need to take care of at night, but obviously you want to sleep, then that's when it's a good time to get a VA who can help you with all the tasks that, you need done while you're sleeping. And it's great.
So, moving on to number
10.
Halfway there.
Are you okay with getting paid with not getting paid if the deal falls through?
So, can you break that down? What's a deal?
Well, anytime we say a deal, it's, a contract for purchase of a home. Now, are you okay? Can you be okay and not freak out and still be there for your client if, let's say, we always say the financing falls through, but there are a lot of other things where, you may just not come to terms with, I don't know, something with the cooperating party. And someone says, okay, well, I'm out, whether it's, you can't agree on the appraisal price or whatever it is. Sometimes a deal can fall through. It could be as quickly as you have a fully executed contract and let's say you're the listing agent and the buyer's agent's client didn't submit escrow, and then they said on the third day, right before they're supposed to submit escrow, hey, sorry, but I'm gonna back out of this one.
Mm-hmm.
Can you be okay with that?
Exactly. And listen, deals fall through for all kind of random reasons.
Yeah.
It could be a deal can fall through based on a theory of something that should be something that's not something. That has nothing to do with anything.
You're so right.
Yeah, so
it could be like, or are they going to fix the roof?
They should have fixed the roof, even though it's perfectly fine, but technically speaking, it's been 10 years, so therefore they should have fixed the roof.
Or my dad said that his roof guy said that it has to be done every 10 years, even on a 25-year roof, and so, you know what, we're going to back out.
Yeah, so that's an example, and deals can be lost like that all the time, and you need to understand, in real estate, can you be okay with that? Can you be okay with you're 3-4 days away from closing? That closing is going to give you $6,000, and then all of a sudden that's bye-bye. That $6,000 is no more. That happens.
Yeah,
gotta be okay with that.
I've been in deals where it's been, 3 weeks in, and I know I've talked about a few of them before where it's just fallen through. And I know actually some of our own agents where they've gone almost to the closing table, and then everything is supposed to go clear to close and it doesn't. I mean, those things happen, and it's not to say you can't salvage the deal, but are you okay with not getting paid? So I think too often in real estate we shy away from the whole money thing. Yeah. And the thing is, guys, you didn't get into this industry just to be Miss or Mr. Realtor.
You got it
to make money.
For whatever reason that
Lots
is. Maybe you're trying to impress somebody. Maybe you're trying to raise a family. Who knows?
Obviously, you'd work to make money. Let's just put it that way. And so in this business, because it is a commission-based, unless, you're in property management or some other form of real estate, but when it comes to residential sales, you are commission-based most of the time. And so with that is going to come, I don't want to say the instability, but I mean, it always gives the chances of something may not go through. So are you okay with that? Are you willing to deal with that when it happens and pick right back up, or have enough in your pipeline so that doesn't really affect you financially? Those are some of the things to think about. And we say these things, but I mean, honestly, practicing it, have enough people that you're talking to and following up, and enough deals and contracts in your pipeline where it doesn't bother you.
Okay, so this next one is fun for us because we've kind of mastered this. We've been doing this for a while. It's can you budget your money well in big chunks? So we haven't been 9-to-5ers in I don't remember.
Yeah.
It's been a long
Since
time.
I've been in property management, I haven't done 9 to 5, and it was very brief.
I don't remember
For
my
the
last.
doing the
I think
9
the
to 5 part
military
of it.
was the last 9-to-5 job, and that's more like a 9-to-9.
So we've basically through, not just with school, so Drew and I both having gone to UCF and also having been in real estate for so long, we're used to having big chunks of money, whether it was through, our closing commissions or again with school having the student loans, etc.
Yeah. And big chunks, we mean 2,000 to
$5,000 to $10,000, sometimes 20,000.
yeah, 20,000, maybe even $30,000.
And then
average around five to 6,000.
I would say between 5,000 to 10,000 that we would say, okay, now we have to basically spread this out however long we knew it was going to be until the next closing or whatever it was. So you have to be willing to know how to manage your money very well.
Exactly. So if you're one of these agents that this is what you do, and you're not working another job, wife, husband's not working another job, you guys have a team, maybe you're single and you're doing this, can you budget your money well? And let me give you a few examples. Okay, you have one closing, you just got, it's a $6,000 check.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see anything in the foreseeable future. Maybe you're working with some clients, but you don't know when your money's coming in. So that $6,000 needs to last. So how do you budget that? Preferably what we used to do is we take that chunk and we just pay our life 3, 4, 5 months out.
We would choose whatever bills would be allowed to be kind of like, or whatever bills we could put like a credit upon, like whether it's a cell phone bill, the mortgage, the rent, whatever it was at that time, we would pay it out as much as they'd allow us, basically.
Yeah, we used to pay our landlord like 4 months rent at a time. Say, hey, can we pay for the next 4 months?
Right.
And then that's covered. And then our light, electricity, water, we paid 3, 4 months out.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. So get used to kind of spending the money ahead of time.
Right.
So you're kind of leasing out your life, I guess you could say.
And it's really good because then you're like, oh, wow, I am really covered for, and then you can, based on the kind of budget that you're doing, you can really say, okay, now I know basically how much I have to work with and, what do I need to do and when the next deal needs to be, when the next closing needs to be. But if you get really good at that, you start to feel great about real estate. So you guys get the point. Basically, make sure that you can budget your money very well. All right, now the 12th one is, are you willing to invest in your business?
Kind of goes along with the last one.
And this should kind of be like a no-brainer, but it's not always. So I'll tell you, I talk to people, so many people daily, and when I ask them, some people will say, well, how much money are you willing to invest in being a real estate agent? How much are you willing to invest in your business? Because it is a business for yourself. Even though you may be hanging your license with the brokerage, it's still your business.
You're an independent contractor, and
right.
you're trying
You're
to get as many clients as you can.
Right. So I think it's interesting where a lot of people, they come into the business saying, well, how much can you give me? They're saying that to the brokerage, which, don't get me wrong, there are a lot of brokerages that may provide leads, marketing, and all that stuff, but ultimately it is your business.
Yep.
And so a lot of times when people ask me that, I'll ask them, well, how much are you willing to invest in your business? And then we can tell you from there what we would do as far as, would you pay for this kind of lead generation or this kind of marketing, wherever you are, there's a place you can start. So if you have $50 to invest every month, okay, well then we'd say start here. But if you have, thousands of dollars to invest, and we would say go for the big impressions or advertising for your lead generation. So it just depends on how much you have, but are you willing to even invest in your business?
And investing in your business, because you're a real estate agent, it's a little bit different than your traditional, investments. You're investing a lot in yourself and your image. So what kind of car are you driving? That is an investment. What kind of suits are you wearing? That is an investment.
Those might not be investments in another line of business, but in real estate it is.
How do you look? Physically, how do you look? Are you pleasant? Are you pleasant looking, or do you look kind of tired and worn down and miserable?
Do you look miserable and feel miserable?
Yeah, these things all make a difference.
Yeah.
So, your food, your gym, your clothes, your Zillow leads.
Once you're a real estate agent, I'm sorry to cut you off, but once you're a real estate agent, your entire life is an investment. Are you willing to invest in your image, in your health, and you feeling good
Yeah.
about yourself and about your weight. Those are things that unfortunately it's shied away from a little too often. But in real estate, you do have to ask yourself, am I willing to invest in myself? Because that's the first part of the business is you. And so are you willing to invest in your business and in yourself?
Okay, so number 13 is, do you need to be told what to do? So, this is something you need to ask yourself. Do I need to be told what to do? Or,
Just shown how to do it. Do you need someone to guide you step by step and have a mentor? If you do, no worries. There is something for you. There is what's called a real estate team within a brokerage, not just a brokerage.
yeah, there's a real estate. So if let's say you're a 9 to 5, 9 to 5er, and you're used to people telling you what to do, or you're just used to people telling you what to do.
Or you just graduated, or you don't have a
Yeah.
lot of experience
Yeah.
with real estate.
And you're like, you know what? I really like real estate. I know it's for me, but I know that I do need to be told what to do, at least for, the first couple of years. Then a real estate team may be the way to go,
Yeah.
because they will tell you what to do. They'll tell you to work this lead. They'll tell you to go show this house.
And this is how it's done.
And they'll tell you, this is how we do it. Now, keep in mind, with that comes a lot less freedom, and it is a job at that point.
And they're taking about 50% of your commission.
But
a lot of times.
If you're like, you know what, I don't really care
because it's more of a mentorship.
Exactly. And if you don't care and you want to pay the price in the beginning,
Yeah.
meaning financially, in order to get to your goal, which is hopefully millions of dollars, then, do that.
And you might only need that for the first 2 or 3 closings that you have, where you need somebody who's there as a mentor, and then you can kind of soar, and that's fine. But you have to know that going in and be honest with yourself. If you're like, you know what, I really don't like people telling me what to do, and I'm more of a self-starter, I can take care of this, and get with a company that provides you the information you need. A lot like Follow Me Realty, giving you the information you need, but we're not telling you what to do. We're just showing you how to do what you need. And so then on the other hand, like Drew said, you have the teams that will tell you what to do, tell you when to do it, tell you when to be in the office, and that works for some people, and maybe it only works temporarily. But you do need to know that going in. Be honest with yourself and see what it is that works for you.
And this next one is like our first one. It's about habits. But this time we're asking, are you willing to change your habits?
Mm-hmm.
Are you willing to adapt them if need be? This is
And
pretty
I
much the
think-
exact same thing.
I think and that's what I was saying earlier. I think a lot of these sound redundant, but they do provoke different thoughts when you think about it. So the whole podcast, the whole thing is understanding yourself more than anything. These aren't really questions to answer to anybody, but to really internally say, okay, is this for me? And so with number 1, do you have good habits? But then to jump to number 14, are you willing to change those habits? Those are, although very similar, you have to be willing to change what doesn't serve you and do it fast. That's why also earlier we said, are you willing to adapt? It's essentially the same thing.
Are you getting high watching Mad Men for hours instead of...
I don't do that anymore. I'm just kidding.
instead of, running a contract, looking
Yeah.
on the MLS, bettering your craft, things like that. You know exactly what it is you do
Yeah.
that needs to change.
Exactly.
Myself included. You know, we all have our little quirks about us. So are you willing to change those?
Right. And you really do have to be willing to the best way for me to put it is go where the money is. If the money is not sitting around doing nothing, then don't be there. Go where you're being productive and efficient and not busy. I mean, productive. Go where the money is.
Yep. And number 15 is
we're
very,
about to get into some...
very important, and it might
be touchy.
It might be touchy, but
It's
does your
necessary.
partner support you in everything you do? So, let's say you guys are married. You're with your partner, married, or
boyfriend and
girlfriend,
Lot
and
of
they
different
don't
areas.
support success, and they don't support the betterment of you, your situation, your family. That's a problem.
Listen, guys.
I'm not telling you to get divorced, but
So we say this often.
get divorced. I'm
Wow.
joking.
I'm not saying it, but I'm saying it.
I won't
Listen.
say that, but Dan Pena will.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, guys, if you are an average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with, what does that say about you? And that right there really kind of coincides with, does your partner support you? Because the person that you're spending the majority of your time with is going to be your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, spouse, etc. So, do they support you in everything you do?
Or if
and
you're
is this
single,
new,
your boys or your girls or whatever.
yeah, that's true. Or
Yeah.
your family. Do they support your new venture in real estate? Do they support you being, this new professional? So actually that brings up a point that I kind of want to touch on a little bit. That's one of the main reasons why we had harped on Facebook so much before. Was because with Facebook, you'll notice that, that's your friends and family that you're connected with a lot. As a matter of fact, when I just started the Facebook this week, I had a lot of requests from old friends and old family. But the thing is, it's truly there just for the business aspect, right?
Yep.
But with your Facebook personal page, they know you as someone from a previous life. It's like I always like to say it, because when you're a real estate agent and you're a new real estate agent, you are taking on an entirely new persona. Now, that could just be you 10x'd, honestly. But it is a new venture, and that also means coming with new habits, new people. So if the people that are in your life, they support it, that's great. But if they don't support what you do, then that leads to 16. Can you then
rise above the noise?
Well, actually, it's number 17. I'm going to skip 16 for a minute. It's then, are you willing to cut ties with the friends and family that hinder your success?
So we're just going to say this is 16.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
So-
yeah, this is 16.
So if your family doesn't support this, and let's be honest, why wouldn't anybody support real estate, guys? Let's think about that for a second.
But
It's not like you're
happens.
out there, selling drugs on the street. I can
Right.
understand that. Like, hey, that might not be a good idea.
Right.
But
May
it's
not be for you.
Real estate it's a good idea.
Yeah.
It's not one of those careers that's like, oh my God, there's a lot of avenues
How
in real
dare
estate.
you do that?
So
No.
if they're not supporting you in real estate and your success, then that's a problem. So maybe it's just not the best idea for you to be around them, because that
Yeah.
can seep into the subconscious.
It does seep into the
and it's
subconscious if
very
you're around it a
important
lot.
that you stay around like-minded people that want to see you succeed and move forward in a positive direction.
So I think even more generally speaking, it's, can you cut ties with the environments that do not serve your overall purpose of success in real estate?
Yep, and that's what number 16 is. It's, are you willing to cut ties?
Yeah, and exactly. Are you willing to cut ties with that environment? So the next one,
Well, let me touch on this.
Okay.
If you are not willing to cut ties, then this might not be the career for you, because you're letting someone else dictate your life. You got to cut
and
ties.
that doesn't work well
Yeah.
with the sales.
Exactly. You
No.
got to cut ties with those people that don't want to see you succeed, that think that they know that they know you better than you and
Mm-hmm.
what's better for your life. You can't do that, especially in real estate.
Yeah. So then the next one is, can you rise above the noise? So this all kind of coincides together. So guys, I don't need to tell you what you see on the news, on your social feeds lately in the last few months. It is what it is. You see a lot of, I'm right, you're wrong. Listen, don't be an expert in who's right and who's wrong. If you're right and they're wrong, and they're right and you're wrong, forget about all of it and rise above the noise. You're going to have a lot of times where you will wake up, and this isn't just in media or having a low information diet, which you absolutely should, but from the time you wake up in the morning, especially as a real estate entrepreneur, it is so imperative to get up, clear your mind, don't open the phone. And I'm kind of a stickler for this. Like, I should, or rather I should be more.
8:30 this morning, you're on the damn phone.
Listen,
True story.
don't, whatever. The electronic devices, put them away. Drink your water, a lot of water. Drink your tea or coffee, and just be to yourself, at least, without any disturbances in the morning. Rise above the noise. The best way you can do that is to start the day right by taking all of those things out of your mind as soon as you wake up and saying, okay, what do I want to accomplish in the day? So one of the things that we like to do to rise above the noise is to sit and actually write pen and paper, physical pen and paper, and say, okay, what do I want to accomplish
true
this
for
week?
me. I have an Apple Pencil.
Yeah, well,
that I
Drew's different.
use.
I like to.
So I have a physical Apple Pencil.
I have a physical
And a physical
pencil and a physical piece of paper that I use. Drew uses iPad and pencil, but sitting down and saying, what do I want to accomplish for today? Me, not what other people are saying, what they're trying to shove down my throat on TV or on the radio or at work at the water cooler, blah, 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 blah. None of that. And it happens all day. You got to rise above all of it. And so I like to sit down and say, what do I want to do today? What do I want to accomplish? What did I accomplish yesterday? Where were my strengths? Where were my weaknesses? Et cetera, et cetera. But it's about what I wanted to do and not what the world expected. So rising above the noise means shutting it all out at least a few minutes in the day, and then the rest of the day still turning that shit off. Like, just get away
Focusing
from it.
on your vision and your goal.
If it
that
doesn't
is about it.
affect your pay, don't let it ruin your day. And that's going to be even like people that cut you off. That's noise, guys. And those are all things meant to test you.
Yeah, it's noise, whatever it is, whatever political party you follow, you're going to have noise from the other side. Whatever, whatever religion you follow, you're going to have noise from the other side. Right? So it's about rising above the noise and focusing in on your goal.
Yeah, exactly.
Number 18.
Are you willing to learn from those who have been where you want to be?
Pride comes before a fall.
Yeah, you have to be willing to give.
I thought it.
But what you said is actually.
My mom used to tell me that all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'd fall.
What were you, 3?
16.
You're tripping over your feet.
No, it's in life.
So, are you willing to learn from those who have been where you want to be? So, cutting back to what we were saying, okay, so you have to be willing to learn from those who have been there before. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to have a physical mentor in front of you all the time. This could be in the form of books. And my 3 favorite books, actually, I think our 3 favorite books that may not have been the overall, but were the 3 kind of like foundations of when we both started doing real estate together, was Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, Tim Ferriss, The 4-Hour Workweek, and Grant Cardone, The 10X Rule.
Yeah.
Those people really embody what it means to be a self-starter entrepreneur, and so that can apply to a lot of industries. But it applies so well to real estate. I mean, all 3 books. Well. Especially if you really, really dive into all of them and apply the principles that you learn. But be willing to learn from those who have gone
are you willing
to
learn from those people? So to kind of piggyback off of what you're saying, one of the first books I read out of the military was a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki.
I was going to mention that one.
And it really opened up my mind because he talks about how the poor think, and then how the rich think, how the poor act, how the rich act. And what I mean act is not necessarily like, hey, how you doing? Act with their money. What are they doing with their money? How do they communicate money to the world? How do they invest? So he really dives deep.
The poor dad says save, the rich dad says invest.
So he really dives deep into these nuances and kind of, teaches you about real estate. So my question to you is like, are you willing to learn from this guy? Is this something that you want to do? Are you willing to learn from the top realtors? Are you willing to learn from the top salespeople? Do you think you know it all? Because if you do, probably not for you.
Here's a for instance. We have an agent ourselves right now who asked me a few months ago. He said, so I'd like to know, basically he wanted to understand the ins and out of a contract. And basically what was the benefit to his buyer to use an as-is contract versus a standard FAR/BAR contract, right?
Okay.
And I said to him, well, typically because he said all I can find is the standard contract in the forms that we had. And I told him, well, you're going to use an as-is more oftentimes than not. The listing agent is going to request you use an as-is FAR/BAR contract. And he was a stickler for it, and not in a bad way, just say, but wait a minute, but what about the standard FAR/BAR? Because isn't that kind of like a hindrance for my client? And I said, well, the listing agents are asking for that ever since like about 2010, after the crash. A lot of people were using as-is, and they just kind of rolled with it since then. And he genuinely wanted to understand if that was going to be a hindrance for his client. And so the way that I explained to him was this. You want to get the offer in. And if they're asking for as is, put the as is in. And when it comes time for the inspection contingency and all those things, you can always renegotiate. But basically, you want to operate within the system that you have. So for instance, where he was learning from me. I've been there before.
Yeah, he was willing to learn.
Yeah, and he was willing to learn and understand. He said, okay, I completely understand that. You have to be willing to, even if, again, things are not always as black and white as you'd like them to be, which they all never are
50
in real
Shades
estate.
of Real Estate.
I'm telling you, we should call this episode 50 Shades of Real Estate, because there are so many gray areas. And so you just have to kind of be willing to be guided by those who've been where you want to go. Yeah.
Number 19. And this is so true. Now, some people come into real estate and, maybe husband or maybe the wife is working and, or maybe you have enough finances put away so that you really don't feel the initial burden that is real estate. Mm-hmm. Number 19. Are you willing to be broke?
Yep.
Okay, so there is a lot of real estate agents that come into the industry and they come fresh out of college. They don't have a penny saved. They're like, well, this is it. Now, I admire that and I'm not knocking that. However, do know this. If you have no experience in real estate, you don't have any other income, you're going to be broke for a little while. There is always the exception to the rule. However, most people aren't the exception. Yeah. So are you willing to be broke? Are you willing to not eat for a few days? I mean, it can get kind of real and real fast.
Really quickly. I mean, so much so that, I've known people that have really wanted to just completely quit and give up real estate within a few months because they said it's not going the way I want it to. And the thing is, I think the expectation of the industry perhaps isn't set properly, but then at the same time, the real estate industry is so different depending on who you are. It can go so many different ways when you first get in. So you could get, all of a sudden, all of your friends and family want to sell their homes or they want to buy, and you just happen to really get lucky. Or you might come, like for me, for instance, coming from a family of agents and nobody wants to buy from the new kid on the block.
Yeah.
So then
what she's talking about is her sphere of influence. We had none.
We had zero sphere of influence.
Because our parents and our cousins and aunties
aunt and uncle and
they're all real estate agents, so everyone was selling to everybody.
Right.
All the friends of the family, so we had to go out and get our own clients.
Right. We had to build our own sphere of influence. So sometimes, that takes quite a bit of time to build up, and so you have to be willing to sometimes really within this and some other industries, like, kind of go all in. And as Napoleon Hill says, you may have to burn your bridges for that to happen, and you might see a lot of broken, sad days before you see some amazing times.
You might have to sell your iPad. You might have to sell your MacBook.
You might have to sell
whatever it is.
A lot of things.
Yeah, a lot of things. Your furniture.
Yeah, sometimes that happens. But
speaking from experience,
really and truly, like if this is something that I've talked to people that they kind of want to do this as a part-time thing, and I think that that's great, that or they want to transition into real estate, and I think that's absolutely wonderful if you have the ability to do so. Then we talk to people that this is their only option. They are truly now on their only option, and that's where we were when we started in real estate. And we had a lot of broke days. And it doesn't feel good, especially when you have two very small children. So, everybody's going to come in with a different situation, but in real estate, I think generally speaking, everyone should be willing in the beginning stages to be broke.
Yeah, and then once you're broke and once you've hit kind of like the rock bottom financially,
and you have nothing to lose,
and you're like, well, this,
it's not so bad.
This isn't that bad.
Yeah.
You're like, we're not first world problems. We're not in a third world country, so.
Yeah,
once you're willing to go all in, and realize, hey, I might be broke, and maybe you're a charismatic person, maybe you're very, very good at sales, so maybe the being broke part won't happen to you. But some people, they're gung ho about real estate, but they don't have any sales knowledge, they don't have any charisma, and all these things need to be learned, and they will be learned. But it's during those times you're going to be broke.
Right. Yeah, you have to be willing to go there. And I think just kind of mentally accepting, maybe even a better way of saying it too is, what is the absolute worst thing that could happen if I do this? And if you're okay with that end result, then I think you're going to be okay and you can deal with it, whatever comes your way.
So there's a YouTube video. Just type in The Mind Motivation. It's about a 3-minute clip. Press play, listen to the lyrics, and you will know what number 19 is all about.
Oh.
Go all the way.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Which is, are you willing to be broke? I was
Yeah.
like, what's number 19?
The wine's kicking in.
Yes, it is. Okay.
Okay, so the last one is, are you willing to practice self-confidence?
This is going to be a daily
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, so-
you won't have a choice in real estate to practice or not. You just have to,
Yeah,
or you quit.
Yeah, because, I mean, you're going to have so many people come at you that from left field that you're not expecting. And that's just the nature of the job, because you have to deal with new clients. You have to go out and get more clients. And in that process,
It never ends.
It never ends. In that process, you're going to run into a lot of disgruntled people. You're going to run into a lot of people that
Very entitled.
that hate realtors for whatever reason.
Yeah.
You know, so
It happens a lot. You know, it's funny. I talk to agents daily that hate real estate, and I wonder, and I'm talking about, you know, people who we're talking to because we're a brokerage for new agents. So we talk to a lot of people who are just getting in, and they have absolutely no idea what real estate really is all about, and that's okay because it's new. But they cannot stand people calling them.
yeah.
And I say, and not to them, because, you know, if you don't want to work with our company, that is completely fine. You don't want to be with us, that we don't want you on either. But then I go, man, how in the world are they ever going to cold call?
Yeah, this is true. This is true.
How are they going to, because a huge part of real estate is building your confidence through cold calling, putting yourself out there. It's like constantly going on dates. I know I always correlate relationships, and dating to real estate, because it is a lot like that. Like, you're basically always going on first dates. You're going on a lot of blind dates. You're doing a lot of matchmaking yourself between the clients and the house. You're matchmaking yourself between yourself and the clients.
Yep.
Like, it just never ends, and so you're going to get so much rejection, and people are just going to be angry.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to go through that.
Exactly. Now, this isn't the majority, but it is a lot. You're going to get a lot of rejection before you get to the positivity. So my thing is this: are you willing to practice self-confidence? Because the more confident you are, the less you're going to run into these roadblocks, and the more confident you are, the easier it's going to be for you just to let all of that crap roll right off your shoulder. You're like, oh, it doesn't matter, I'm rich.
Yeah.
Or whatever, you know.
Or, hey, you know, I said to myself today in the morning with all of my affirmations and my goal writing that it's going to take, 50 no's to get a yes, so that this is okay. So and this is going back around to what we said in the beginning, being neutral, being objective, learning how to handle that, kill them with kindness. That is not easy. Sometimes when people say things, a lot of times I want to go, dude, what did I do to you? Who killed your dog today because you are nasty? It happens.
Yep.
It is what it is. It's the industry that you're in.
And that's where your self-confidence will really come into play. It's those rough days that you can't seem to catch a break.
Right.
Your self-confidence will come into play a lot.
And like Drew said, go on YouTube, put in The Mind Motivation, and that video really is a very inspiring motivational speech. It's a poem by Charles Bukowski. You're really just going all the way. It could mean, in real estate as an entrepreneur in general, it really can mean losing girlfriends, wives.
Your mind.
Your mind. Do it anyway.
Yeah, it could mean, the poem is basically talking about hard times. It's saying it could mean
sleeping on a park bench.
Sleeping on a park bench. It could be mockery,
not
humility.
Eating for 3 or 4 days.
Not eating for 3 or 4 days. We've experienced kind of close to most of those things in our entrepreneurial journey.
Close.
Yeah. So
exactly those.
so it's very like wow, we get it. We understand. So that's what you're potentially faced with, and just know that it's so worth it.
It's
all so worth it.
If you're studying for your real estate exam right now and you're hearing this, you're like, whoa, Listen, I just wanted to get my license because
Just trying to sell a few houses.
Right. Everyone said I have a good face and voice for real estate and I'm pretty bubbly personality. What the hell are you guys talking about? So, listen. You may never go through these things, or you may go through them all the time. Either way, know that no matter what industry it is, you're now an entrepreneur. And so you may be faced with these days, and more oftentimes than not, you'll at least have one or two of these days are just going to feel hard because sales is sales. It's not guaranteed. It is amazing to get the checks, especially as a real estate agent.
Oh my God.
You get some pretty awesome checks.
Yeah.
And is it not, again, yes, you want to own your time. You want to spend more time with your family, and you want to control what you do. Like, I love waking up every day with you, controlling what we do every single day. We determine the way the day can go.
Yeah, very true.
But it is also very necessary to not let people throw you off your kilter. So, yeah.
So that is it, guys. We hope you enjoyed the podcast like you probably did.
Of course.
Of course.
We're amazing. High five.
We only get thumbs up. This one's going to have the most thumbs down. You watch.
I am so offended by what
So,
you
hey,
said.
for real though, please leave a comment.
Yeah,
join
like
our brokerage.
it, subscribe, come
whatever,
hang out with
yeah,
us.
whatever
We're
you wanna
pretty
do.
cool people. And listen,
We'll
the
be in
thing
Europe
is,
soon. Come hang out with us in Europe.
we're really excited to talk to people who want to understand the real estate industry more, entrepreneurship, a lot of different things that we like to cover. So if you have any suggestions on what you want to hear on the Follow Me Show, please be sure to shoot a comment down below. You know,
Basketball.
chat us. You can pretty much find us everywhere. We're Drew for basketball, the Celtics, me for Patriots, because Packers are definitely out for the rest of the season. Sorry, Packer fans, but it's true. I'm sorry.
I don't know,
That really hurts, doesn't
yeah,
it? I'm
yeah,
sorry.
it does. So
Patriots are
all,
still
all
gonna
of
win
you
the Super
that,
Bowl
that do
again.
watch sports, Celtics are coming. Celtics are coming.
Yeah.
October, what's the date? 17th?
Today?
Yeah.
16th.
Tomorrow's the first game of the season.
Tomorrow's the
Yep.
first
So
game.
guys, the Celtics are coming. I hope you enjoyed the podcast.
If you're listening to this a year from now, well then,
you
already
already
that
know
we're
because
prophets.
we're in the Eastern Conference Finals
Basically.
again.
But we're really excited to talk to you guys. And we promise it won't nearly be this long the next time that we talk to you. But again,
It might be longer.
No, it won't be this long, but we're really excited for what we're building. So if you have any comments and suggestions, for all of our existing agents, we love you guys a lot, and we're really excited to have you with us. And so if you like this and you have any suggestions on what you want to see next, let us know.